Video while multitasking with multiple apps may result in lower.
Oh, it's a warning.
Okay,
It's a thing.
let me tag a couple people here.
Tag them. Tag you're it.
Come on,
Tag you're it.
in the room.
Tag you're it. I feel like
Come
it's a remix.
on, in the room.
I got you. She's got the vocals. I got the knuckles.
Let me tag two
'Cause
people.
no way. And I'm holding out notes. I can hold no
All right.
notes.
Peace. We'll wait a moment for people to get in here.
Say hello to everybody.
Get in here.
Say hello.
We have things to talk about.
So for everyone on my channel, I'm just saying hello, J Essence. And do you have an official YouTube name, or you just watch?
I don't. We did have a very active YouTube channel, but then I just got tired of telling people my business. So
I 100% understand.
And then life started lifing, and they don't even know about Salama on my YouTube.
Welcome. Or for unto us a child is born. Yes.
That's right.
There we go. And she is 8 months.
10 months.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible auntie.
It's
10
flying.
months.
It's flying.
10 months. 10 months. January?
She'll be 1 in January.
Welcome to a new year. Yes. And she's already doing the most.
That's right.
That's why she's with us right now. Because if she's not on camera, she will be doing so many other things. So hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We're breaking down some knowledge, some questions, some information today. And I'm going to get you stuff. This is an interactive day. And first of all, let me say shout outs to everybody who is YouTubing with us right now, because this is the Wednesday before.
Right.
So that means that we're in the background.
Right.
We're in the background because somebody in your life is doing this number right now. And you see the elbow going. It's this number. It's this number. So I'm going to have to tell you a secret that I'm very ashamed of.
Okay.
So I was cooking like 2 weeks ago, because I don't cook, I'll be working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And girl, I threw my back out because I have been sitting so long and sitting and teaching. Like when I started doing this, I was like, oh, my back is pulling. So I have been like, I'm about to get a kettlebell, but it's like I'm literally doing this so I could stir my potato salad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I worked out hard for the last 5 days. I had the jergens with the water, and I'm like this. So I'm lifting weights so I can make sure my potato salad is bomb, because you don't mix if you don't mix it right and get into the edges and stuff. And I was like, I refuse. This is not a teething ring.
But this is
a teething ring. I refuse for the potato salad not to be whipped right. Whip it, baby. Whip it right.
Well, great workout, and you're looking strong, looking mighty. So Salama's being anti, but it's okay.
Salama is like, we are not here for you and your attempts of being greater, mommy.
Yeah. So let's get down to business.
Let's go.
We are here right now in Nyamata, Rwanda, outside of Kigali, doing the work. Yes. And this video is about that, putting in work. And my sister J Essence, who is here, she launched an initiative to get a literacy center built in Gashora, which is about 30 to 40 minutes from where we're sitting right now, in a much more rural area. It's rural, it's lakeside, it is rural. And there are people who live out there. People live in rural areas, and it's not rural like, oh, they live in South Carolina, North Carolina.
No.
Rural. This is beyond that. And when it comes to accessibility to education, accessibility to resources outside of what nature is providing, which is a lot, no disrespect to nature, it's few and far between. And so it won't arrive there unless somebody brings it there, unless somebody is adamant about bringing resources to these people in these villages in this way. And Jay, like I said, had the initiative to do that, and she will tell you more about it. And if you look at the link in the description of this video on my Facebook, you'll see the link to the GoFundMe. It is beyond
$5
$5
goes a long way.
Yeah, it
Goes a
does.
long way.
Go
Because
ahead.
literally $5 could take care of at least our construction crew for that day,
Mm-hmm.
for that whole day, like all the people for construction. It can take care of that. It takes care of food. And so one of the things that is one of the goals with the Literacy Center that is an undertone goal is that by us raising this money and building the Literacy Center, and we are using all local resources, one of the things is in the budget, we're trying to get the cement from the local store. We're trying to get the wood, all of this stuff. Even when we get things built, we're going to use the local carpenter and everything, because what happens is we're pushing that money directly into the Gashura community,
Right.
which then it goes off and off feeds the Gashura families and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're not trying to come in and say this is what we're going to do. We're trying to take the resources that are already there and then put money into your general store, put money into your carpentry, put your money into your whatever you do, you're holding cement, holding mattresses, holding whatever, and do that. So that was one of the things that I don't really talk about a lot, but is really a big goal is circulating the in our case it would be the dollar, in their case the Rwandan francs, but circulating the Rwandan francs within that community,
Right.
rebuilding that economy.
Right. You heard me. And that's just a little bit. We're just getting started. So tell the people what's going to happen inside of the literacy.
Okay,
center
so yeah, we'll go around. So the inside of the literacy building, the building is actually being created. We have an architect to create a space, and we're trying to be smart with the space that we are creating, how to best utilize it in multiple ways. And so one of the things that we are doing is we have space and we have reading nooks that are going to be open for independent reading, so children can pick whatever books that they want to do. We also have a teacher that's going to be full staff, and she's going to be teaching in Rwandan and in English, and I would say teaching or supporting. And so inside of there, we already have what we want to do is at least 5 days out the week or 3 days out the week is just a reading hour where the younger kids can come in, your ages 2, 3, and 4, and they just hear books. They are just in that space with the literacy, that they're learning songs and they're learning different things that help build this type of, I don't want to say academics, but just this foundation. And this is very important. I'll tell you why in a little bit. But just the songs, the A, B, C, D, E, F, and then head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. And then one of the pieces that we really want to do, and Swatara has already committed, we're going to try our hardest, is to be able to create these songs also in Rwandan as well.
Yes.
So we know our songs in English, but we want to be able to switch head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and then whatever, and go back. Because we want to make sure that our communities are embracing their heritage, embracing their differences. And what we're doing is we're not building kids who can speak English, we're building dual language skills.
Right.
That's a big difference. And so not only in that do we have that piece, we have the homework help. And one of the things that I go out there all the time, and I will go out there at 9 o'clock on Monday, and there are kids out there watching. Not
So
every child is in school.
why do you go out there all the time?
Because I have a farm out there.
Oh.
I have Hantima Farms is out there, so we'll dip into that in a second.
Okay.
And that's one reason why I do feel close with the community and everything. But going out there though, so there are kids there all the time. So we want a space where kiddos can come, homework help, or if you're not in homework, but just being able to have those books and read. And then we also have a adult literacy hour towards the end of the evening, so adults can actually learn. Because to be honest with you, we have done business deals with people who are not literate, even in Rwanda, and so we want to make sure that we're working in both those aspects. So the inside of the center, which you really have specifically asked about, is going to be one of the things. I don't have it here. That when you get out here and as an educator, I kind of miss this, like, I miss my walls. Like we used to post stuff up on the wall. You have your word wall, and out here your walls are really concrete, so they don't hold well. So we have to be very smart and strategic. So we are painting our walls with the purpose of literacy, and we're putting high frequency words up to level 6, and more. Honestly, it just depends on the mentions. But up to level 6 with the high literacy word. And then we'll have one side that is high literacy words English, the other side high literacy words in Kirundi. So we should be able to speak some after this.
I've been practicing because I can't take it.
Well, we have the ABCs up. We also have our number line up, and then we have our phonetics, and that's probably something too that might have to be dual language because it's just little things here. And I believe I'm going to get this messed up. Like I believe there's 26 letters in the U.S. alphabet. There's 24 in here in the Rwandan alphabet.
Okay.
So there's just little bitty things that we have to catch, and then we also have the math formula and like your math wall, and then we have other things that I'm looking around, but what do we highly use? Like probably your multiplications, girl, let me write that one down. Multiplication charts and everything else, and it's painted. And then now, because of the good news I'm going to announce later where we are going to look at creating one of the walls because we are now near electricity. And so that's going to be a projector wall. And so I really want to do one of the walls, like paint it like a movie theater, but have it on the outside. So people can come out kind of like a picnic, like whatever on a Friday, and we can actually play movies. Just right now with the people in my staff, like we were watching Madagascar, and they was like this. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, just little stuff that helps introduce these things and the challenges. So one of the things that I want to be able to work with once this piece is done, once I have that director there, I want to take my curriculum background and say, okay, how can I take these books and then translate them to Kirundi? How can we get some artists and all that other stuff, how we do that? Because one of the things, and I need you guys' help if you know Rwanda, I don't
We're all live on YouTube. And we have a question here from the viewer.
So this is really interesting, and I want to really spend this time to break down because it says, "What ages are you talking about?" And I think you saw me kind of struggle with the question, like, "What are your demographics?" And I'm kind of like, and the struggle is, let me give you the story, and I'll tell you why it's a struggle. And the story is that me, my mom, I have on my own, and my team have just gone out to the farm where the kids are unannounced, and we were like, okay, we're going to pack food, and then they come, they just come. And so what we end up doing is one time I was like, you know what, I really want to do something kind of major. I wanted to read books to the kiddos, and I wanted to do an activity. So I was like, okay, Valdemir, who's our project manager, just I'm scared, I don't know, but just tell 2 kids. And he did. He told 2 kids about us coming on Saturday. We'll be there at like 11 o'clock. First and foremost, stuff happened, girl. We rolled up at 2 o'clock. I was so ashamed. When we rolled up at 2 o'clock, okay, you know Wakanda when they were like this and that, and they were like all like that's how it looked. And I was like, first of all, I was like, this is amazing because I would have been that kid who would have been like, they late. So they waited literally 2 hours off of 2 kids' words to do this. Also, this was my first time really doing something, and I was trying to be real bossy. And I was like, hey, we're only going to make like 16 lunches. Thank God my staff did not listen to me. And I could tell you, we had 84 kids, and I could tell you that because we had 84 lunches on the dot. So 84 kids came out. We read them the story, and there's pictures of them all at our feet. Like we couldn't even walk where we were. We could not even walk. And then we passed out crayons and color pencils, and they got to draw their dreams. And then we hung them up, and they were so happy to see me looking at them and talking about those and everything else. So firewall of facts, when you say, what ages are you talking about? When I turn around and say, oh, I'm going to limit it to this age or this age, I'm limiting need. Because even when we were doing it with the kids, it was my staff who I hired that's locally that were intent in listening. They were participating. Those are adults. And so to be nice, I can tell you, oh, ages 3 to 16. But to be honest with you, with the Literacy Center, and I'm going to give you what was said, is that everybody's going to use it. Period, point blank. We are creating a space that is open for you to find resources to better or empower yourself. And we're going to have a staff or a teacher on hand to be able to help you do that. So we will have specialized programs for certain age groups, but it's not in my heart, number one, to turn around and be like, oh, you turned 14, you're not able to be here. Number two, let's be honest. I don't know what they say. Ain't nobody got no birth certificate, so your child could be 15 standing in the 13-year-old line. I ain't gonna know no difference nowhere. So let's 100% be honest. So just knowing though, the key thing was it's not just for kids. I see the need for it to be adult based too. I know of stories of people who have graduated high school and wanted to go and they didn't have a good grasp of English language in a conversational way. And so that's one of those things where you could come in and just talk to different people. Then we have volunteers come in. And that's one of the things, like we already had some people like, hey, we want to do a tour of your farm. Cool, you do a tour of my farm. Can you spend 90 minutes at the Literacy Center? I would tell people, and this is when we practice conversational English.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like there's so many things that we can do if we plan it and produce it correctly. And I think one of the things that you have, what you have in me, is somebody who is minded to create this type of space and say these type of things are needed. So there is not an age range. If you want me to say Literacy Center, I would say 3 to 15. And then I'm going to say, and then a different one for adults, just for demographic sake. What I found out is that the land that we are going to be on, just praises, whatever, is that we got moved. Originally, I was purchasing land right next to my farm. And when I went to go to the sector chief, the names, and she was really talking to me, and she was like, well, you can do whatever you want to do. There's no problem, but you're technically on the edge of a village. And there's 3 villages here, and it would probably be better for you to be in the center. And I said, well, show me what that looks like. And so when she showed me what it looks like, we are now going to the center, and they're partnering with us having that land. Us being in the center is us being effective with 3 villages, because it's the center of 3 villages, to which when I asked her how many families, she said 2,500, which I was like, we need more books.
Yes.
We need more books.
Yes.
Because you see my little box of books. We need more books.
So I want to ask quickly the viewers here, if you're able to hear us. Somebody said they think the audio went out.
No.
I know, right?
No.
So if you're on right now, just let me know in the comments. Well, I guess I shouldn't ask if you can't hear us. Let me make sure.
Because that's really bogus.
I
Because
know.
we've been really talking.
We have, but
And mine's going
luckily
in and out.
it's genuine, and so we can. Okay, you can hear, and Baba Haki is here now.
Mhm.
Okay, that's great. I just want to make sure you all can hear us, so that's good. And we'll talk a little more about the literacy center, and then Baba Haki, I'll bring you on also, so that we can build on the investments who are coming up, because it's really all connected. It's all tied in together. So
Hey, David.
that's good.
So David's another person. I'll be putting your name on this as well. He knows that area because the Gashura and the baby. So yeah, the literacy center is going to be right there. Where your plot is. So I don't know how much you've done, but if you take your road up, and then all of a sudden you're kind of in a village, and then you turn a sharp left and go up, and there's a school up there. There's the mines up there. There's a health center up there, and that's where they gave us the land. So we are right behind the district cell office, right in front of the health center, and it's amazing. It's amazing space.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing space, and they just pretty much was like, you can do what you want with it. And I think the miracle that's in it is that the community had come together and asked the district, like, hey, we want a library. And it just, nothing went further than the ask. And so for us to come and say, no, we're coming in with to build it. We just want to make sure. And she was like, yes, build it, do what you got to do.
I have another question,
Mhm.
and it's kind of two-part.
Go for it.
But I want to know, without the literacy center being there yet, what kind of void do you see within
major
the village?
So the key thing is like, if you want to go, like, I can answer this two ways. I can answer it in the, what are we looking for?
The shawl.
The shawl?
Yeah.
Okay. There's two ways you can answer a question. You can answer it with the passion and the truth that it is, and you can also answer it with the facts, right? So I'm going to go ahead and give you the facts and the spill down. All right? The number one change agent for any economy, any number one change agent when it comes to poverty and those things. Let me tell people we don't need to get banned. We don't need to get banned. I just don't want this to get banned. I just don't need this to turn from a charitable to like, oh yes, we will help you. OnlyFans. Hey, you know what I'm saying? We'll take that money though. We'll take the money.
Having built tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, so so the number one factor is literacy. The number one factor, the number one change agent. You can turn around and pump money into a space all you want to if people do not have the education to know how to use it, to build on it, to grow more, to dream more, to become more. It doesn't matter the money, it ends up going. Like we live this. It goes to beer. It goes to beer, it goes to weddings, it goes to funerals, it doesn't go necessarily to build. So the number one change agent in anything is literacy. When children are doing poor in school, what's the number one factor they say that can turn a child's trajectory around? It's education, it's the teacher. The teacher is the change agent that can change. You can have a great curriculum, you can have all these things, but if a child cannot hook into school and love being there and learn and teach, it's there. So the first piece is just the facts of what can literacy do for a community. Period. It helps build minds, it helps build education, it builds opportunity, it builds jobs, it builds finances, it builds conversation and communication, it builds wants and needs. You know what to ask for, you know how to utilize resources once they're given to you. Now, let's go back to the passionate piece. How dare us come from where we come from and not want to be able to tell somebody the power of a book? It was literally stripped from us, and now we're in a situation where people don't have access just because they don't. It is very hard to find books in that area, and then I'm gonna be honest with you, engaging books. Dude, ain't nobody start reading off the encyclopedia unless you was like in slavery, you didn't have nothing else to do. That was the only thing you had, and you had the Bible or whatever. But like you fell in love with something and you're like, let me reintroduce myself to more words and more things, and you built vocabulary, you created all those things. So all of that comes from this one base thing of being able to access words. What are words? Words are the same things that said to you and compelled you to change your way. The power of a word and what it is just magnificent. And then coming in from having, I'm African American. I am a descendant of the slave trade. We can fight about who, where, what, all you want to, but my truth is my truth. So my truth is that somebody on a plantation kept waking up every day and living a BS life because they dreamed of me. They dreamed that there was a future. They were not allowed to read. They were not allowed to write. They were not allowed to do anything. So who am I to turn around and say, I have all this now and I see a need for it, and I'm not at least going to provide you with the opportunity to grasp on it on your own. And also to advocate, because we have people who do their community service, but they advocate in their own needs. And I'm actually advocating for you to find yourself. I want Black books in this place. I want us to be able to talk about vocabulary. I already know that in America, you teach American kids. We struggle with reading comprehension. We struggle with inferencing. We struggle with deducting facts. We struggle with endurance reading. We struggle with these things. So if I know that we struggle with these things and I have a group of kids that as soon as we come around and learn literacy, I'm automatically hitting them with reading comprehension. I'm automatically hitting them with inferencing. I'm hitting them with these things so they can have this grasp of knowledge to go further and be better and to become curious. The key thing about a child in education is your child curious? If your child is not curious, things are going to go past them. They're never going to grasp. But as long as you build curiosity in kids, as long as kids will say, why is that? What is that? How can we do it? As soon as kids start asking questions, bam, it's over. As long as you're feeding them answers and they can keep asking more questions, dude, that's all you're asking for education.
And in addition to that, family, you be surprised. You will be surprised the need for African-centered education in Africa.
Oh my gosh. And I'm coming in now. I feel a little bit more open. I worked in a school and I literally, like, they gave me the book list for the next year. And I'm in a prestigious school. They gave me the book list for the next year and I shot it back. And I was like, there is not one African story, not even African author. It's not an African story in this book. In fact, I don't understand why your kids need to read Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. I'm sorry, we are in Rwanda. Why do they need to know the story of Huckleberry Finn? That has nothing to do and cannot relate to what they're doing now.
Facts.
Like, there are so many other stories. So I had to shoot back. And not only did I have to shoot back the books, I had to turn around and give recommendations on what books there were. So I'm sitting here Google searching African-based stories and novels and different things that happen in East Africa. We're going to read a book that happened in Kenya. We're going to read a book that happened in these places. And to be able to have someone who is this thoughtful about what goes into our kiddos' hands means a lot, because that's one of the reasons why we have this bigger conversation of people who are in Africa saying that I need to go to the Western world to get an education. It's because the Western world has always been taught to them as the elite speaks to be. It's like we have stories that we can tell. And if you choose to go, there's a difference. But don't think that that is the only answer. Right. We have the answers within ourselves. We should be able to have these stories. We have heroes here. We have heroes here. We have people who've done things. And one of the things about, and I love what you guys do at the school, with the African Central Education, it's not African American Central Education. It's not African Central Education. It is Black experience. It's melanated history. And there is so much that we have and know. So when we come back to the Literacy Center, because I'm bringing it all back around, that's why it's important that you're supporting, because you have no idea, one, the hurdle it takes for us to get books out here. And so we do not want access denied because we can't swipe a credit card or do that. No, it's the same. We have to be able to move faster and step forward. Because I can tell you right now, the French got books here.
Oh, yeah.
The French got books here. Because, you know, I'm not going to get in politics.
That's another live.
Woo! That's the, and there's, I'm going to say this much and go ahead and slap me on my head. The French got books here, and I know for a fact that some schools get Mandarin classes free. And the reason why is if you want people to think that your culture is accessible, you give it to the kids. So we have kids who are taking Mandarin, but we might not have kids taking Kinyarwanda.
Did you hear that? Children taking Mandarin in Rwanda and not learning Kinyarwanda. Learning Kiswahili.
And then, no, not here. Yeah. And then there is so much to say when you have people who know education. and like the method of teaching and not teaching things in rote memorization, not teaching things because you have to learn it how, but you want to. Like, I really want to be someplace. So please invite me to the cultural fair so I can learn the Rwandan songs and the nursery rhymes. Like, I'm gonna get his name wrong. Oh man. But I was told about there's this folklore of this Rwandan who is like super, super fat and he's very, very muscular. He's like our Paul Bunyan. Okay. And so he comes in, he does this, and he eats all this rice, and all the kids laugh and glee. He has this big pot belly, and everybody loves him. I'm trying to see if I can do that for our holiday, like to see if I can get a real fat, guy to come in there and be like, but it was like when they told me that story, I was like, this is so beautiful. Like, let's know where these stories are. Let's continue to pass them down. There was somebody who was doing it on YouTube for a second and they stopped, and I was like, why? Like, we want these stories. We want these stories told out loud. We want our reels and we want our storytellers, and I miss that. And I don't even know if they do that anymore. Y'all remember going to the library and there was like the folklore person, they were and the tree came up.
Look, I'm a Kwanzaa kid. I know storytelling, okay? Shout out Bishop and Kenji Abi, Ashe. Storytellers.
But they just made you so curious. And one thing I noticed even with my kiddos is that the kids that I teach in South Carolina is that when I read a book to them, I noticed that later, like a month later, they're reading the same book in their own in their book things. And what I've noticed is when I assign them a book, but when I've given them the book and it's not hard for them to get through, they understand the language, they understand it just so they can go back and play with it. It's a totally different. So no, we need those stories. We need that. So we need literacy because it just simply opens up worlds.
It opens up worlds. And you all need to open up that link in my description and make it do what it do. Make it do what it do. Hit the GoFundMe. Every little bit helps. We want to get. You have a deadline?
I was really trying to push. I gave us a deadline of January 20th.
Okay.
I gave us 2 months. Really? Do you have the power backup?
No.
I do with your Wi-Fi, but I'm on hotspot.
Yeah, and mine, it'll just switch over to.
It's gonna switch over in a second.
Yeah, we good.
Because they want to shut us down. They want to shut us down. First of all, shout out to the light bright because now you see my light shining through.
That's right.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hey.
That's
real time. We not out here playing games. We out here living it.
So yeah, so that's the big thing is that I would say that the blessing is originally I was in Malcolm X mode by any means necessary, And the moment, once again, this is another thing, the moment I opened my mouth and said, hey, this is what we want to do, people like, well, why are you trying to buy land? Come over here and get this land over here. Why are you trying to do this? Come and get this here. Okay, so we can do this. And then you've seen, we built buildings. So we know that we got this. This is not even hard at all. This is not hard at all.
The building, that's the easy part. Like we already have those connections.
The kids are already there. Them kids are, and I will say that this is such a small but beautiful moment because I was sitting in my car yesterday and it was like 3 of the kids, regulars, and they came, they was at the window and they waved, I high-fived them and all that other stuff. Language barrier, y'all. Language barrier. And so out of the 3 kids, they were just sitting there, we were, whatever, just kicking, they were just watching all that other stuff. So this other 4th kid came up. I had never seen him before. Never seen this kid before. And then he came over, he was like, give me money. And what I know, I was like, no. Sorry. I'm going to give you knowledge, baby. They're going to learn this later. And so the other 3 kids kind of looked at him like, dude, like she ain't going to give you the money. And what I recognized is, I've hit that point where I'm in the community. Like I'm saying, they're knowing. So even if I do give or whatever else like that, like they like the kids would come in and they've worked. Girl, it'd be the saddest thing. I'd just be like, you gotta work. So they just picking up a tree and moving it, whatever. But it's not just a gift. So it's not, even though you're giving and I want you to give, like we're empowering us to grow. This is not just, and it's like the teachers, we're not just throwing fish. We're really not just throwing fish. We're not asking you to throw fish. We're asking you to help us build a boat so we can go fishing. That's what we're asking you to do.
Help us build a boat. I know that's right. And the same stands true for this East African investment tour also. Baba Haki is on. And I'll bring him up in just a moment. But the way I connect them is that we can't really complain if we're not going to fill the gap. We can't say, oh, those people over there don't know how to read, or it's always white people going in with the NGOs and trying to teach the children something, and they wind up just indoctrinating them with all this. Well,
I got to give you a true story. So, like I said, I've been around the community for a while, and I had a friend, and she took me and another one of us to the school. And so when we went up to the school, I'm watching and everything, and y'all don't understand how much of an educator I am. I don't know if you even see, like, it's so ingrained in me.
I think we know.
But so it's like I could only sit there for a while, and what I'm seeing is like the teachers, like the kids are just sitting there with nothing to do. The kids are sitting there, they're all out there, and they're just sitting there. So I just asked, hey, can I, do something? So we did hands up, hands down, hands up, hands down, hands up, up, So they learned up, down in English with me, and we and I sang a song and they clapped. And so at the very end, they said, thank you. And I was like, they were like, thank you, Mr. And they kept saying this word, and I couldn't catch it. And the friend that took me started busting out laughing. And I was like, I don't even want to hear about it. I know they're going to call me Mzungu. I'm not even stressed. She's like, no, they called you Chinese. And I was like, oh, we got to get into this community. Oh, if you think we got to get into, like, I'm telling you, that was when I was like, oh, no. Like, it was one thing for you to call me a Mzungu, which I'm really used to being called a Mzungu. For me, you to think I was Chinese, oh, we got to get into this community, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. And me, I don't even don't call me Mzungu. Don't call me Mzungu. But my favorite way to combat that is to learn a local language and tell you not to call me that in your language. Because that's when you understand.
I'm just saying, but they didn't call you Chinese.
No, that's a trip. That's a trip. Wow.
Tell the Chinese lady thank you.
Yeah. See, it's up to us to do the work. We have to be here. We have to be on the ground. And even if it's not for you to be here doing that kind of work on the ground,
support us doing it, please.
Support the people that's doing it. Support the people that's doing it.
Because that's the thing. We are not the millionaires. We're not the Oprahs. We're not the Ludacris's. We're not the Ushers. We're not those people. We're not the top 1% that can come back here and invest and make those changes. The people that are coming out here that are investing, making changes, are working hard. People who were raised with the moral compass to do.
Yes.
So we don't have that. If you want to turn around and hold people accountable, ask for a bookkeeping sheet. Ask if I could be on a board. Ask those type of things. But
because you can.
But the key thing is like, I am 100% about you supporting what we do. I'm 100% to say, if you've got this, do this. I'm 100% to say, yo, I got this books. We can send you books. I'm down for you saying, when are you coming back, sis? I will pay $200 for you to have an extra suitcase to take, and you can just take these things. Like, we will do the work. We will do the work.
We will. Thank you, Jay, for taking the time. We are going to transition to the East African Investment Tour, and it won't take a whole lot because it's the same topic. We can't complain about other people coming and raping our continent. We can't complain. But then what? Because while we complaining, they continuing to do so. There are people here like myself, like Jay, and so many others who are doing the work to combat that, who are doing the work to fill in those gaps before our enemies come in and create the path for you to be able to do so from where you are without having to come here and relocate, because we understand that's not a reality for everybody. Like, don't even bring up that argument. We know everybody. I ain't trying to, come out. That's fine. You don't have to, but there are still ways you can support the work. There are still ways you can do the work from wherever you are in the diaspora. And so that is what we have created, and that is what we will continue to create and build and grow together. And the investment tour is a part of that. The literacy center is a part of that. The prodigy program, the summer program is a part of that. Everything that we do is done in that vein because, like she said, this is the life we were brought up in. This is the sentiment I was raised in. Many of you who are watching know this, okay? I was raised in the African-centered lifestyle. I have an African name. I told my mama that you gave me an African name. You raised me to know that Africa is it, the motherland, the beautiful place. How could you not expect me to want to go back? How could you not expect this? And then coming here, you see the work. Yeah. You see what there is to do, and you see the lane that only somebody who is Black, yeah, African here, but with a keen understanding of what we're up against, yep, based on where I came up, I understand our enemy in a way that my brothers and sisters here just cannot. They haven't had the same experiences in the way that we have. Also, they don't have the same access to resources in the way that we have. And so I am a literal living, breathing, walking bridge. And I have this opportunity to bring my people over it both ways in a viable way that can sustain us all. And so that is our intention, is that is what we plan to do. Let me see if Baba Haki is still on here. Are you on here, Baba Haki? Let's see, bring them on video. Send invite. I know, right?
Work that technology.
So I'm adding Baba Haki. Baba Haki and Sister Kim are partners in this endeavor. It's the Ujamaa Cooperative Economics. Ujamaa East African Investment Tour will be touring Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya. We'll do so October 11th through the 22nd of 2023. Registration for the interest meeting is open now. It just takes 3 minutes to register. You can click the link in the description on my video here. You can put into Facebook search Ujamaa East African Investment Tour. That's UJAMAA. See all the details there. There are so many opportunities here for investment. I mean, and we're talking about business. Like, we're talking about not sending donations. We're talking about you coming and seeing and integrating yourself in real life and getting a real return.
And if you know better, if you do better, shout out real quick if you're still on. I need you guys to connect.
Yeah. I'm sending him an invite again. If not, then we'll just come back on a separate video and go live together with me and Baba Haki.
You see how she's just dynamic, brother. You see how she's just taking things? That's what we want you to do. We want you to take initiative. Take, and give forth into another country. She took from one continent, and now she is forcing the rightness on the other continent, so she can get it down.
And then we're not offering you to do things that we're not doing ourselves.
Baby, the sweat and tears.
You know, we're not saying, oh, you should come here and do this, and that, and we're not doing it. We haven't been through it. We haven't done the footwork, and because we've done the footwork, we know how to make the process easier for you. Yes? We're not going to just say, oh, you should, go to Kenya and buy some land.
Oh, no. Because everything's a step-by-step process. And so the question is, and I've said that before too, in one of my lives, like, how do you know somebody? You go, ask 3 before me or whatever, like, ask different people how to do things. So fall in love with one. But like, if you just go out on your own and buy land from Kenya, baby, anything can happen.
That's right.
Vet your sources.
We got to get
your sources
closer together. Okay, so we're doing this. Okay. Yeah, we are. Baba Sintwali has joined us. And I will let him give his own introduction.
All right, everybody. My name is Sintwali Olushola. My wife's Swatara.
I know, I'm blushing. I'm trying not to.
And we got our family. We came from Houston, Texas. What was that? 2021.
That was
And-
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Oh, at the
2020.
end of 2020.
Yeah.
Man, it's
I
been
know.
that long. It's going on 3 years.
Yeah.
Going on 3 years. So end of 2020, and we were in Tanzania for. That's right. We were in Tanzania for nearly 2 years before we made our way to Rwanda. And as some of y'all may know, some of y'all may not be aware, but Rwanda was pretty strict on its COVID requirements or restrictions. So once those started to get rolled back a bit, that was like a perfect opportunity for us to go ahead and make our way to Rwanda from Tanzania. And so while we were in Tanzania, we set up a couple different interactions with people, really beneficial partnerships that were able to get some business dealings off the ground. And we made a couple of investments. And then once we arrived in Tanzania, actually shortly before we arrived in Rwanda, we connected with Sister J, and we had already been acquainted with her pretty well. And she basically opened the door for us with wide open arms and made our transition from Tanzania to Rwanda really, really well. And it was a really good experience. So being here now, we've been not only talking with family and friends, but Jay as well. Looking forward to making investments, looking forward to building self-sustainability and self-determination, not only for ourselves, but clearing the way for other people from the States to do the same thing. And like I think I heard the conversation before I came in, if you don't want to just come and stay, you could at least be setting up the groundwork for a retirement or whatever to happen, so that way you can do the same thing to some degree of what we've been doing here now.
My question to you is, why are projects like the Literacy Center and the investment tour important?
Not only are they beneficial for gaining the experience of doing types of projects like that, but it's also to be of benefit to the areas, to the different communities that we're inhabiting. So one of the best things we can do when we do projects like that is setting a good precedent for people to come and be able to follow, and really cleaning up any type of negative precedents that have been set before we got here. Because a little bit of history can let you know not only what Black Americans got into before we were all here, but what Europeans got into before we were all here. And so Black Americans tend to be looked at as just simply foreigners. And I was going to say the word, but I'll hold off on it.
We are
okay, so they look at us as Wazungu, and I refuse to be. Yeah, that's
plural.
Yeah, Wazungu is plural. Mzungu is.
Oh, because I'm always single.
Okay.
There you go. And so they tend to look at us as Mzungu or Wazungu, and that's like, some people might say that simply means you're a foreigner, but I've come to know that as meaning white people or Europeans. And I refuse to let that go, because I'm not coming here to take from Tanzania or from Rwanda or from any country. I'm coming to be of benefit. And so being of benefit, that's what colonizers tend not to do, without it being something in it for them to benefit from. So if we can come set a positive precedent and a good example for people to follow behind us, then I feel like the literacy program and different investment ventures is what's going to make that positive line begin and then continue after other people get here, after we've been here.
I want to come in a little bit. I wanted to also say that I think, and you're saying it a little bit too, I would love for communities that we're going into, and those are your empire communities, to understand that they have a power, and I'm being real political, but they have power to what they're going to say yes to. So if somebody's coming in, if a corporation's coming in, you have the power to say, okay, we know that you're going to use this land for this, or you're going to use this land for that, but what are you going to bring back into the community? Like, you want there to be an expectation of, no, we know you're here, but how are you going to support or whatever the community.
Right.
Are you into the health insurance? Are you helping pay for health insurance stuff? But you're just not going to come in and move in and not be part of what we're doing.
Right.
And it's a very simple system, but I want people. How am I stuttering?
Because there's so much information. Like, I got so much to say right now.
There should be an expectation.
Yes, and
There
for
should be an
there to be an
expectation.
expectation, there has to be an understanding, and people come here and exploit the language barrier. I mean, really exploit it. They'll just say, "Oh, we're coming and we're gonna feed 100 children once a week, and then we're gonna take this and that, and then we'll give you free medicine." And it's like, "Ooh, that sounds good."
So,
But you don't see, the skull and bones on the medicine box.
yeah, I think it's just more so like the more empowered, the more you read. For me, that's the literacy center. The more you know, the more that you have the right to know that I can at least ask questions before you offer me a gift.
Because most of the time when colonizers come, it's what it's like called like a switch, bait and switch. Like they come with something that seems really beneficial and really good, but then as soon as you take it, they got you. That's the bait for the trap. And if they know that they can take advantage of people who are in need, then that's what they're gonna do. That's what historically has happened, and that's really the only way I can say that, because we know history has shown us how people do.
And then when we are, our brothers and sisters here are educated and have access to education all the way through a collegiate experience, it is an indoctrination process to get them to want to leave. To either want to leave the continent, devalue the continent, or ask for money. And I'll explain it like the way she said, the little boy in Gashora said, "Give me money." It's the same all the way up to a collegiate level. A friend of mine who has a thriving organic farm in Tanzania, him and his mom, they also have a school there. He graduated with a bachelor's in agribusiness. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. So you probably know how to create bits of this kind of plane in this sector. You're probably really good at that." And he was like, "No, not really. What they taught us, or what I'm really good at, is writing proposals to get funding." Like, that's what his collegiate experience was. Getting better and better at that. Getting better and better at asking for money. How depowering is that? Like, to go through 4 years of a learning experience just to learn how to not be self-sufficient when all the resources you need are around you.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
That's what we're dealing with.
Wow.
So, again, the link in the description for the Literacy Center. That's another reason why it's important, because we need to teach our people the understanding, not just the language, but really understanding what's happening when certain entities try to come in, or when they do come in. It is a form of protection more than anything. Like, first, we are protecting our people here because they have been so vulnerable for so long. Okay? And in instances where they were less vulnerable because there was viable leadership in place, leaders have been, but that's, like she said, political. I don't want to get too political on that front, but we've seen it. We've seen it, and it's factual, and it's in history books, time and time again. And so, in order for this to get done, we have to have people here doing it. There are people here doing it, people that you love, okay? People that you follow, people that you're close to. We're here doing the work. Support it if you can. And if you can't, share. Sharing this video is capital FREE. Sharing this video is free. Okay?
Talk about it. Discuss it. Dude. because it's like your voice, you're only one. Like it's the same concept of a solo versus a choir. Who's going to reach more? Who's going to reach more? And so it's one thing for you to sit back and like clap for us and be like, y'all go ahead and go. But we get tired. We have children. We have other things to do. And one of the things that I talk about all the time is that in my hustle, like I carry 4 jobs. Like I got 4. Literally,
at least
here, I have like 4 hours of writing to do. But you can tell the person I don't know. You know people who enjoy this type of thing. Tell them, yo, you don't know this, but there's this chick you need to follow.
Yeah.
Or you need to follow this. Hey, you don't know about this, but put them on your Instagram, please.
Yes.
Like their status and give them
Yes.
an algorithm that's going to give them more. I can tell you, when I was talking about land, go look at my views. When I talk about land, when I talk about buying houses, that's like 5K views. That is pushed out. And literally, if I name this literacy center, it barely gets 80 views. Help me with the algorithm. Like there's so much other stuff, and then like the games and stuff we have to play just so people can listen. We don't want to do that. We just want to do the work.
Yeah.
We really just want to do the work.
And ideally, we would love to just have all the resources we needed to be able to implement all kinds of programming and all kinds of facilities and do that full time because it's happening. It's not really work. We saying doing the work, like those are the words we're using. But this is love, like just a manifestation of genuine love for our people and wanting to see the best for us as a whole, as a movement, and really being hands-on about steering that. Being what is it, captains of the ship.
Yes. I was like, where are you going? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know where I was going either. That's how it happens sometimes.
So this is the investment tourism meeting, correct?
But we touched both and tied them together.
Okay.
Like it's just.
So I'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit and kind of fill in some gaps when I finish. But our time here has really been based around a lot of building relationships with people. And so in building those relationships, investment opportunities tend to come up. And so one of the things that we really were looking into were not only setting up businesses that would be able to benefit ourselves and the communities, but also being able to bridge a gap between people who are in the States and these different opportunities that exist here now. And so our part of our goal is to tie as many things together as possible, so that way it'll kind of streamline it for us when it comes to making presentations like this. So there's the investment tourism, like the way I understand it to be is that we basically would go around talking to people from different businesses that we know that we've interacted with. And we would basically be using all of our connections with people in the States who either want to come visit, want to make an investment, or would just are ready to completely leave the States for as long as possible. And so us being here would make it a lot easier for people to make that transition, whether it's for tourism or investment or for relocation. And so with us being here on the ground, we would basically be using those connections that we've made here, and then kind of shopping people. Like people, once they arrive, we would receive them, make sure they're taken care of, make sure they got somewhere to go, but then immediately kind of hit the ground running, making sure people know what opportunities are available. And so the connections that we've made, we would basically be opening those doors up for people to say, like an example, if somebody has a farm here and they need some type of seed money to get their business off the ground, whatever investor that we are already connected with in the States, they will come, see what the business has to offer, what kind of return they could get on their investment, and they'll be able to make an informed decision as to whether they want to actually invest with that farmer or even start their own business, and that's also a total possibility in part of learning about different businesses that are here. It's not simply to take somebody's idea, but knowing that you have a certain level of ingenuity and experience that you might want to apply that doesn't cost the amount of money that it would take the same type of investment in the States.
Mhm.
So we're talking about in certain instances, it's a marginal investment relative to your whole life savings in the States. So a couple $1,000s here would go so much further than a couple $1,000s in the States. We all know a couple $1,000s is gone in an hour
On the first.
easily. And so that same money coming to I don't want to just simply say East Africa, but really any African country, we are aware that the currencies are varied, and the exchange rates are gonna so the currencies are varied, but then also the perspectives with the value of the currency and the cost of living. And so when people come and make these investments like we have already, then you'll be able to not only see the value of your dollar, but you'll also be able to see the value of your time. And that's probably one of the most important things. Being able to be here and see where your money would go to is very important. It's a whole lot more than simply sending somebody some money and trusting that the investment is going to go how you want it to. You could come here, see it firsthand, and we're not in a situation where we just hurting for money. So we are much less likely to scam you and take your money, for lack of a better term. And so we would actually be able to manage your investment if you choose to go back to the States and you don't want to come and live long term in one of these countries. So we would make sure that your investment is taken care of as well as possible, in the same way that we are taking care of our own investments. So the trust factor is there, not only from if you already know us, but if you need to get to know us, we would be able to, like I say, we would receive you from whatever airport you're arriving in, take you around where you need to go, make sure you're taken care of, and you would see for yourself where the potential avenues where your money could go. And some people might want to make one investment in one field. Some people might want to make multiple investments in multiple fields. That's not putting all your eggs in one basket. That's
Right,
to me, that's one of the smartest things you could do when it comes to making an investment. So the farm idea, like, not only is that a real thing, but that was just an example. There are so many different fields that require viable investments to either get off the ground or to help them scale up.
Tourism, hospitality, education, agriculture, textiles.
Textile, I thought you were going to say tech, but like technology, whether it's IT, financial tech, hardware. There's so many different routes to go, and if you happen to be in a higher tax bracket, so to speak, then there's industries for that as well. Rwanda, if I'm not mistaken, has a car manufacturing plant that could totally be invested in, and your money, you'll see a return on your investment.
And that's large scale. Like, we don't want to scare anybody off who thinks, oh, I don't have enough money to do something like that. Yes, you do. We know an elder just last week who bought cows for almost $35 a piece. $35 US.
And if you know the value of one head of cattle in the States, then you know what it can mean for being here as well. So you're not going to spend $35 on a cow.
No,
in the States.
And we talking about a herd that she bought, like some of them pregnant.
Yeah,
it's just money. They about to make milk, butter, cheese, cream.
And so that not only can it happen with cows, but goats, chicken, any livestock.
How much are the chickens here?
Huh?
The chickens. The live ones.
I know. I'm going.
Okay.
I don't do my negotiating. You know, I got somebody negotiating.
You're right.
I think we spend about to buy.
Mhm.
We buy at $7 to $9, depending on what the
$7 to $9
yeah.
for a chicken.
And
Because
if
like
I-
currently
and
right now, like we have 3 chickens because we're getting our own eggs,
Okay.
Mhm.
and then that's all the stuff. And you guys missed out. Pig is the big one. Here's the money
Okay,
on
so
you.
I know a lot of people have it. What is it? Lips that touch mine will never touch mine, or no pork on my fork type of mentality. But if
The money behind
if
pigs.
there you go. If,
I mean, not everybody feels that way. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
if
sure.
if you don't mind selling some pigs,
And the only reason why that,
That's
because and it's a good market. And number one, I don't want to say this is you guys' activity and event. I just know from talking and different things.
Mhm.
But one of the hurdles that local farmers have is supplying the demand of what's needed for meat, but also supplying the livestock and what needs to be fed.
Mhm.
And so that's where a lot of money goes. So when you have pigs is actually a really good money maker, but not a lot of people are in it because they cannot afford to feed them
Mhm.
at the level they need to be fed. So
Right.
there are different things you can look into.
That's right.
And so that is actually a really good segue talking about farmland. So one of the things that I think we had a conversation a couple of days ago talking about the cost of cows going down is because people were trying to sell them because they couldn't afford to feed them, and that was in Tanzania. And so that what Jay was talking about is in Rwanda. I know for sure that if you make the investment to get a piece of land, that means chances are it's going to be fertile, depending on where you are. Chances are it's going to be fertile, or at the very least, it might need some type of amending to make sure that your soil is ready, and then you'll need water, and that capability can come through a little bit of research. But having some land to have your own animals on means being able to grow the different crops that your animals would eat. And so bananas grow like weeds almost. And so depending on where your land is, if you get good rain, chances are you'll get a good fertile soil to be able to put almost anything in the ground. There's like sweet grass, bananas, so many different kinds of what looks like weeds, but it's livestock feed. And so that being able to purchase a piece of property, particularly in Rwanda, is a little bit easier going than in some other countries. We're in Rwanda right now, so we are aware of what it takes, or not necessarily what it takes, but we're aware of the hurdles relative to other countries. So being able to get a piece of property and your own animals means that you would have the ability to feed them. You just got to know what you're doing. Part of us being here is, like I said, those different relationships that we've been building is knowing people who do livestock and agriculture. So if you know what to put in the ground that's going to feed the livestock, then you actually put those seeds in the ground or put those sprouts in the ground to make sure that you don't have those difficulties that many people are having. And I may be wrong, but I think people are having the difficulties feeding their livestock because they don't know what to do with the land that they have. That's not to say that they're completely ignorant, but that's to say that there's a degree of just know-how or ingenuity that might be lacking, and that misstep when it comes to knowing what to do for your livestock is a poor investment or poor investment acumen, like just simply not knowing what to do. Practices that in the States are not an issue, because if you got acres of land, chances are you're growing something that's going to be able to feed your livestock. So knowing that there's a synergy that's necessary, not only can you feed yourself, but you can feed your animals with that property. So not only is livestock valuable, but property or real estate is valuable as well here.
That's right. Especially in Rwanda, because they are flipping this property out here, buying land, building on it, selling what they build, or renting it out. there is so much development happening every single day. And yeah, real estate in Rwanda is where it's at. And then another one, just met a brother not too long ago. You might know him, who's in the garlic game. Garlic is one of those high return crops. Garlic and chia seeds. You know, and this is just me throwing this out there. Seaweed in Zanzibar is another one. Seaweed and sea moss.
I was just gonna say the sea moss.
How many people you know taking that sea moss every day now?
How many people you know selling the sea moss?
How many people do you know?
And then possibly not even knowing where it's being sourced from. But you get kind of shameless plug, but that's what we're here for. You actually sign up with one of these investment tours. We can go to Zanzibar. You can talk to
We're
people
going
who
to
are
Zanzibar.
Right. And you can talk to people who are actually harvesting the sea moss and the seaweed from off the coast. And you'll be able to set up different connections that's going to make sure that you have a consistent harvest for whatever your needs are based off of your projected sales or even your past sales. So there's not only is there a little bit of legwork to do, but there's due diligence that each investor has to do. And I know for sure some people don't have the time for it. And once again, that's why we're here. We can make sure that research is done on your behalf if you need to possibly look into another investment that you might want to engage in, or a new investment that's possible. And one of the things that we've been doing, like I said, making those different connections with people to the point where the investment tour is already stocked with viable opportunities for once you land, you get a chance to rest, but it's work to be done.
That's right.
And so you'll be able to see the different opportunities and possibilities that you have available to you that we have already vetted. We're not simply just throwing you to the wolves and having you figure it out on your own, but the people who we would show you to are already vetted by us to the point where if we haven't made an investment with them ourselves, then we know that there's a good opportunity for anybody who's engaging in the investment tour to engage with as well.
Yes, sir. Again, we are here doing this work for us. Sister Jane, Baba Santwali, myself. The links are in the description. We won't take up any more of your time, but we do need you to share the video, okay? Share this video. And if any of these things sounded good to you, click those links and support the GoFundMe for the Literacy Center because, okay? Yes. And click the link, register for the interest meeting. It's an interest meeting. The commitment there is being interested and hearing more information about it and what's going to happen and what the opportunities are. Meet some of these entrepreneurs, meet some of these people who have startups, some who have established businesses, some who have full-blown operations backed by the government that you can get in on. See what's viable for you. What kind of business can you develop? What's on your mind? Maybe you want to get into the education sector and open an international African Center school of your own over here. You know, it doesn't have to be all about free. People are out here paying top dollar to go to school. They are. Yeah. Open a private school and see what happens.
Oh my God. Can I say it one time? Oh my God.
Seriously. The opportunities and the buy-in or the startup funds, what you need is incremental compared to what you would need abroad. And that's how we need it to stay so that we can build. Okay?
Can I say something controversial?
Yes.
So I know that a lot of people are always looking, and even I have a close friend, and they're like, the go-to place is Ghana. The go-to place is Ghana. The go-to place is not Ghana. The go-to place is not Ghana. Ghana has our attention because Ghana has been the loudest. And Ghana has done some really, really beautiful things.
And some people think Ghana is Africa.
What I'm saying is if you take out the time to look at the laws that it takes for you to build, to invest, to create your own business, and you look through those things, and then you look at Rwanda's laws and different things. And the thing that I do like about what Baba and Swatara saying is that they're doing the research for you, because there's 54 countries to research.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you really want to turn around and say, okay, based upon my income, based upon my return, based upon how much effort I want to give, because some places are going to cause you to have to be more hands-on
Mm-hmm.
than other places.
And some places are going to be more expensive to start.
And then I'm going to sit there and say that what they're doing is saying, okay, here's a checklist. After you've done your checklist, these are the countries that match you.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't look at just going off of word of mouth of what you hear or different things. And I'm only saying this, and anybody could turn around and say what you want to say. Ghana's going through some serious economic problems right now, and your dollar is not doing what it's supposed to be doing at all. And so when you're looking at those type of things, you're looking for stable economies, you're looking for places that can give a return. You're looking at places, let's be honest, all investments are not always returnable. So what am I willing to turn around and be able to possibly lose in order to gain something? Or how can I revision? I lost money. I don't talk about this. I lost money investing in a chicken farm in Ghana. That taught me what not to do. I cannot just sit there and trust somebody. And there were some issues that I have. But that lesson also fueled me to be where I am now as a rabbit farmer. I pretty much know everything, and I'm in control of everything because of those different things. So it's more so looking at, as whatever it is and whatever your tour is doing, is being able to say, I need to be in a space where I can be educated. And you want to be able to be in a space where, and this is where our pride gets us, is that I don't like not admitting I don't know something. So I need to be with somebody who cares enough to teach me or let me be able to learn this process and not pressure me into making decisions that I might not be ready to make. I might just be ready to learn, which is the interest meeting. And so that's the piece that I like, that what you're saying more than anybody else, because I know of other investment guides and other placement places that want your money first in order to commit, or they only show you what they get back in return on. And so what you're saying is that we know that people out there are interested, and here's a safe space to come and have these conversations.
That's absolutely correct. Absolutely. And I want to wrap us up, because I know we can go and go. We want to save something for the interest meeting, and there will be plenty there. You all can meet entrepreneurs there. You can actually see proposals there, and get an idea of what you'll be exposed to in person on the tour itself. And we'll also, on the other side of this, keep you updated step by step on the Literacy Center. You know, Jay has a YouTube page that is always fresh and kept up to date. And so please tell the people on this side who aren't on YouTube your YouTube information.
So J Essence, Jai Essence, J Essence Journey, J Essence Rwanda. That is the YouTube, and we are constantly just stating. I talk about how to relocate. I talk about My Cousin Connection, which is the organization we use to help you with your visas, with setting up your business, with all those type of things. I talk about life, and I talk about the biggest thing right now, which is Hatima Farms. And because, girl, we made our first sale.
Hey, congratulations. JS is with a big sale over here.
That's right.
On here.
We can learn so many lessons. Another thing, learn. Oh my God. Thank you. And then, so now, and it's the literacy, it's the literacy press. It's the literacy press, and what we need to do and who we need to connect with in order to get these things going.
Okay.
So J Essence Journey.
That's right. And you know who we are. On this side, you may not. I'm Swatara Olushola.
I'm Sensuale Olushola.
And we do have a YouTube channel. If you want to head over there, it's kind of dusty, but you can go. It's go. No,
Let's go.
no, let's just go.
Go back.
What is it? Go Black to Africa.
Go Black to Africa. Right. So our email is Let's Go Black to
Yeah,
Africa.
the email is Let's Go Black to Africa @gmail. If you want information about the investment tour, you can email contact Akibaland Investments@gmail.com. That's ALKEBULAN Investments at gmail.com.
Put it in.
And even if you are on the continent, say you are in Rwanda or Kenya or Tanzania, and you have a business and you're watching this and you're like, hey, I could use some investors,
Yes.
you can email a proposal to that same email. Okay? And we'll follow up with you. All right. This has been grand. I feel like we're supposed to eat now.
We are eating.
Yeah,
We
so
are
I
eating.
appreciate you coming and doing this.
Yes.
And I want to see that goal met, as soon as possible. Think about us over here.
Yes. We're gonna make it happen. We're going to make it happen. So I'm cutting off on this one.
And this one. Peace.
Bye.